Julio Fierros, impressive dude. Julio was charged with an aggravated assault on another person. Julio always maintained he didn't do it. This all started off of Julio's then girlfriend, now his wife. Her ex at the time was harassing her, was sending her texts, was showing up at her job. But she basically decided, you know, she's a very independent woman, decided to go talk to him and face him and say, you know what, just leave me alone. And Julio said, well, that's fine, but you're not gonna go alone, right? So Julio stays in the car. She confronts him, and then they start yelling. So he goes out and see what's going on. And then the guy starts running away, yelling, screaming. And the guy did trip, he falls. And that's when Julio holds him down and just says, hey man, I'm not gonna hurt you, just leave us alone, man. But Julio maintains to this date, he didn't punch the guy, he didn't hurt the guy. And my evidence, the evidence that I got supports that story. And of course, that's also what she told me happened. I think the guy really got scared when he saw Julio coming.
It was, I was falsely accused by the so-called victim. I was trying to be as honest as possible, and I wasn't given the benefit of the doubt because of the demeanor that, you know, the Marine Corps inculcates into us. You know, the assertiveness, the, you know, matter-of-factly, you know, personality.
They saw this big dude, you know, and that other dude didn't look that big. And they just jumped to a conclusion.
I was a little apprehensive because I felt that you know, there was that, you know, mistrust from the incidents that had occurred, you know, with the law up to that point. But Javier demonstrated that he really does care. He really went out of his way for me, and he exposed the truth.
The cops interfered and tainted witness testimony. So one lady that lived there called 911 and, you know, gave a story. Oh, there's a guy on top of another guy or whatever, right? But she never saw the guy hit him or something like that, and she couldn't identify who was doing what. So they brought her to see Julio. And she said, no, I don't know. But look at him harder. Look at him more. Doesn't he look like the guy? Doesn't he do? So they're intentionally trying to bring memories that don't exist.
It was very frustrating and very discouraging to know that, you know, after serving the country, they demonized me. So, you know, I think Javier had a lot on his plate.
Once we started talking, he explained to me what did happen, and it seemed all reasonable. So then my job was to go and see what the evidence said. According to the other guy, Julio just went out on him and literally broke his face. But there was no blood on Julio, there was nothing. They took pictures of his hands, his knuckles. There was no evidence on Julio of an actual fight. Once I got the reports, I found out that the guy refused any medical attention the day of the incident. He said, no, I'm fine, I don't want anything. So I started investigating. It took me a while, but I was able to track down the paramedics that attended to him. And he says, yeah, I checked him out. And did you see anything wrong with him? No. Did you check for fractures? He said, yes. Did you find any? No. That's another element that supported my client's story. So I was like, yeah, Julio's telling the truth.
He wanted me more to be proud and to show them who I really am. And he always gave me the facts and gave me the opportunity to make a decision. And because of my integrity and because I knew I didn't do it, I refused to take it, and he always had my back no matter what.
Julio was not going to admit something he didn't do. That's probably the Marine in him again. He did admit that he held him down for a while and told him to calm down and stuff, and told him to, you know, stop bothering his girlfriend. He didn't lie. He didn't hide behind anything. He just said, look, this is what I did and this is what I didn't do. He got probation. Once probation is done, he can ask for that to be a misdemeanor. It's all good.
He really went out of his way for me and was able to reduce my assault charges to a misdemeanor. It really was a slap on the wrist from the allegations that were being made.
What really stuck with me is, I believe it was a few days before trial, Julio came into court and he was wearing his uniform. And the prosecutor moved to the court to order a veteran Marine not to wear his uniform for trial. I thought that was offensive, not only wrong.
He was actually really offended and discussed it afterwards when we spoke. And that demonstrated to me that Javier wasn't with the system. Javier was my Marine Corps, you know, come in and put himself on the front lines for me. So I felt very safe and protected after a short period of time being with him. I think that if he wasn't involved in my case, I'd be in a very bad situation right now. For anyone considering to have legal representation, I strongly advise and suggest that you look for the offices of Javier Alatorre. I believe Javier, in his own right, has the discipline and the determination, the loyalty, and the commitment that the Marine Corps demonstrates to fight for the country. He will get in the trenches and the front lines for you. So consider that when making a life change, a situation that might change your life for the better or worse.